Welcome to the Caleb Quimby podcast. This is episode number 11, and I'm going to be talking about how to pretty much talk to anybody and kind of why it's important. So, there's a good book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it's a book that I highly recommend. I read it a few years back, and it's kind of helped me be able to communicate with other people a lot more honestly and openly because I'm able to be more interested in them than I am in myself, because there's something else in the book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, where one of the habits of highly effective people is they are first interested in the other individual before they're interesting. So if you're wanting to talk to everybody, then you're going to want to be interested in them first, figure out what they're doing, figure out what they're interested in, figure out what inspires them, what their goals are, what their ambitions are. Once you do that, then you can start to be interesting. And you have to first give before you can take. It's something that I've had to learn throughout this whole process of my life and what I've been doing and how I've been living and how I've been improving myself over these past 2 years, because I used to always be a taker. I used to always want to take, and never actually give anything in return. I always just thought everything will just come to me, which in a certain manner, everything has always kind of worked out for me. I don't know if that's, I kind of feel like it's due to my viewpoint on the world and how I just interact with other people and how I'm just kind of friendly, how I don't really discriminate against any sort of individual. I'm just kind of open and honest because I know who I am and I know what I'm doing. And if you're able to get to that point, you can kind of do a lot more, because that actually kind of leads me into a quote from How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is on page 12 of the book that I have. It's, "Don't complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof," said Confucius, "when your own doorstep is unclear." That's something to think about, because there's a lot of people out there that are wanting to communicate better with other people, yet they don't know how to communicate with themselves first, because we're always having the chatter in our head. We're always having the discussion in our head of, oh, this happened to me, or I need to say this to this person because they upset me in this manner of regard, because we have all of these problems or issues within our own mind that we aren't dealing with. So we're deciding to take it out on other people because it's easier that way. And I can tell you firsthand, that will only get you so far. Once you actually decide to actually do something for yourself and actually try and start meditating, doing yoga, and practice. It's not something that you're going to get first try. It's not something that you're just going to be naturally gifted at. It's something that is going to take time and effort and practice. Yet once you start to focus on the inner self dialogue and you start to focus more on how you're thinking and how you're interacting and how you're viewing the world, you'll start to be able to interact with other people in a more open and honest way, which is one way, because there's a lot of people that will speak ill of themselves. They will speak very illy of themselves and be like, oh, crud, I should have done that differently, or wow, I can't believe I did that, or wow, I'm so fat, or I don't have enough muscle, or I'm not eating healthy, or blah, 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 blah. All these just negative thoughts. And it's not good for you, because those negative thoughts is what you're going to be manifesting into the reality. Now, if, say, you start to think more positively, like, oh, I'm looking good today, I feel like today's going to be a good day, oh, I got a good mindset, oh, I'm ready for this day and I'm going to crush it. I'm going to do everything in my power to do what feels right in this specific moment. And by doing that, you're going to start to do that with other people, because the way you're treating yourself is usually how you end up treating other people. Most people will actually treat themselves worse than they actually treat other people. So if you start treating yourself better, imagine how you'll start treating other people. Because there's a quote by Benjamin Franklin. It's one of his, I want to say his 12 or 13 rules. And it's, "I will speak ill of no man, and speak all the good I know of everybody. A great man shows his greatness by the way he treats little men." That was by Carly, Carlyle. I'd say that's Carly. First quote was Benjamin Franklin. Second quote was Carly. It's just from Benjamin Franklin's point of view, it does really change how you view the world. It really does change how you interact with other people, because as soon as you start to realize that you stop speaking ill of people, because there's friends that I've had in the past that have only spoken ill of people. they're always kind of like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. Why did I do it this way? This person is always doing this or that. And I'm just like, I don't know. I think they're a nice guy. Like, I just don't see the point in talking negatively about anybody else. And the people that are talking negatively about other people are usually the people that are not going to make it as far in life as they may want to be making it in life. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just all about a point of perspective in life and what feels right and what you're doing in the present moment that'll actually get you to where you're wanting to go. But it all does start by talking in a regard where you're really only looking from the good in people. And there's actually, this is something that I also kind of learned from listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, is whenever people would like be like, oh, hey, how's, like, guests on his show would ask him like, oh, hey, how was Elon Musk, or how was so-and-so? And it's just like, well, yeah, they were a good guy. Like I said, the conversation just took a little bit longer. I had to just keep putting it on track because it kind of kept running off of trails. And it's just like, I just kept him on though. But he's not saying anything bad about them. He's not speaking poorly of them. And I really admire that in him, because there's not a lot of people that will actually do that. A lot of people will want to talk about other people behind them, their backs. And that's not one way that you're actually going to make those long-lasting friendships with these other people. Now, if you're only, like, I never talk poorly about anybody behind anybody's back. Like, I'll joke around and be like, oh, hey, haha, look at that. But it's just like, it's just dudes being dudes kind of thing. And that's just the process of just life in general. And it's you just have to start somewhere. That's the whole thing, is if you're starting somewhere and you're doing something that actually feels meaningful, and you're not talking poorly about other people, because as soon as you start talking poorly about other people to those people, or those people are talking poorly about you or someone else in that regard, imagine what they're going to be doing when you're not around. They're probably going to be talking poorly about you. If they're talking poorly about one person that's not you in that group, then the likelihood of them talking poorly about you or somebody else in that group grows exponentially. So think about that next time you start talking poorly about somebody else that you may not necessarily enjoy their company as much. Whereas the other people that actually do it the right way is, the greatest asset I possess and the way to develop the best that is in a person is to appreciate and encouragement is by, let me reread that. The greatest asset I possess and the way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. I never criticize anybody. I am hearty in my appropriation, and lavish in my praise. Like, think about that. Think about that for a second. You start only saying good things about other people are going to want to start to hang around you. They're going to want to be interacting with you, because people always, this is something that I've thought about for a while, is people always remember how you make them feel. If you make them feel good, they'll want to continue staying around you. If you make them feel bad or unwanted or terrible, then they're not going to want to be around you, because there's something that I learned from Jordan Peterson, where from one of his lectures, is the best way to ruin a kid's life is to punish them when they do something good. Now, you can do this to anyone, any age. It doesn't have to just be children. It could be an adult. It could be your wife. It could be anyone of any such. If you really want to punish them, then punish them when they do something good. Now, on the reverse side of that, though, if you really want to have that good conversation, you want to encourage them to do something, encourage them when they do something that you like and enjoy, and say, hey, that was a really good job. You should go do more of that. You do that, they'll start to do more of that. And then when there's things that you may or may not like, maybe discourage that a little bit. Now, in regards to using this to talk with people, so let's say I'm at the gym and I'm lifting with myself, or some of my friends, and I see that some dude's like putting on some weight, like he's starting to put on size, and I'm like, dude, like that was a lot of weight, like really good job right there. Where in the past, what I did instead was I was just like one of my buddies, he was lifting he's doing the squat machine with the bench, seated leg presses pretty much, and he was doing a lot of weight, like a lot of weight, and I at the time I was very jealous. I was just like, I was kind of resentful, because I was like, well, dude, I want to be able to push that much weight, and it just didn't feel legit to me at the time. And now when I look back at that, it's just like, well, okay, I probably should not have conveyed myself in a way that was not actually being interested in him and actually encouraging him for moving that weight, because I guess I had to go through that, though, to be able to learn and understand that, like, hey, people enjoy that positive self-encouragement when they're doing something good. So when they're at the gym and they're doing deadlifts or they're doing squats, or they're doing more weight than they thought they were capable of doing in the first place, when that happens, all of a sudden you start to pretty much encourage them. It's like, dude, that was nice work. That was 315 pounds on a squat. It's like, wow, that's impressive. That's really good. Even if you're at 135, people like encouragement. People enjoy feeling good. If you make them feel bad, I wouldn't want to be around somebody that would make me feel bad. And that was how I was in the past. I was somebody that made people not feel good unless it was something that I actually looked upon. Like I actually agreed with. And I still somewhat am this way, because I still feel like people somewhat need to, I want to say, prove themselves or show that they have respect and are worth my respect. It's just something that I've always had. Like, since I work so hard with what I want to do and what I am doing, I want to know that the person is also doing the exact same thing. If they're doing the same thing, and if they're at least disciplined and they have that hard work and they have that drive and they're ambitious and they're actually doing a lot with their lives, then I'm more likely to hang out with that person. Now, if they are just like not wanting to do anything, they're staying on the couch playing video games, they're smoking all the time, they're drinking all the time, they're going out and partying all the time, that's not somebody that I necessarily want to have a conversation with. I'm going to still talk with them because they may be able to teach me something that I didn't know in the first place. It's just, that's not somebody that I'm going to adamantly be seeking out to be able to have a conversation with. It's these small little gestures that you start to do and that you start to pick up on, because there's just so much that you can actually do in this world when you actually start to be interested in other people. And that actually kind of leads me into this quote from Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is he was not interested in helping me. He was only interested in helping himself. When you do that, nobody wants to be around you. You want to help other people. People enjoy being helped. People enjoy helping other people. And for a time, I didn't understand that. I did not understand what it meant to actually help people, because I was jealous, because I saw all these people doing all these amazing things that I wanted to do. And I was like, well, why can't I do it? And then I had a mental mind shift, I guess, when I was talking with all these people and listening to these conversations, was there's abundance in this world. There is abundance. There is more to go around in this world than anybody ever conceived possible. At least more than I ever conceived possible. Like, I never imagined that there's so many opportunities out there and so many ways to improve oneself, to make money, to live the life that you want to live, and actually create wealth for yourself. I never imagined that until I started talking with other people and I started communicating with other people. And one of the best ways that you can go about talking with other people, because let's say you don't know what to say. Let's say you have no idea what to say. You get nervous, you get anxious whenever you walk up to somebody and you want to start a conversation. If that's the case, just kind of look them in the eyes. Like, legit, just look them in the eyes. I know that might be a little stressful and it might be a little anxious depending on where you're at. I can tell you, though, when you look somebody in the eyes honestly, openly, and authentically with the clear intention of listening to what they have to say, there's so much more that can actually be achieved through that process. Now, if say you're just looking at them and you're thinking and you're waiting for the next thing to say that pops into your head, then why would anybody want to listen to you? I wouldn't even want to listen to you at that point. So you want to be able to be interested in that other person, and you do that by looking them in the eyes. Look them in the eyes for the conversation. When you start talking, like, veer your eyes off a little bit here and there, because if you're staring at them too long and too intently, it starts to convey somewhat of a predatorial attack, and that's not something that you want to be doing. You want to be having that just clear look in the eyes of like, oh yeah, hey, this right here, yeah, this is what I'm doing. I am genuinely interested in what you're saying, and now let me somehow relate by building this rapport. Like, oh yeah, hey, I also know how to work out. Oh hey, I also know about spirituality. Oh hey, I also know about business. Oh hey, I know how I can grow your business, and I know how I can help you make more money with your business. And if you're able to help people, people love being helped, and that's one of the best ways. If you can offer some form of help, some form of education, some way of them making more money, some way of teaching them something new that they might not have known in the first place, then you might be able to learn a lot more in the process. And you wouldn't have been able to do that if you wouldn't have actually gone and had that conversation with them in the first place. Because the world is full of people who are gabbing and self-seeking. So the rare individual who unselfishly, wow, I can read very good English. Let me reread that. So this is from page 42, How to Win Friends and Influence People. The world is full of people who are grabbing and self-seeking. So the rare individual who unselfishly tries to serve others has an enormous advantage. He has little competition. People who can put themselves in the place of other people, who can understand the workings of their mind, never need worry about what the future has in store for them. So kind of what that means to me is, it's like, if you're actually treating people, if you're actually interested and you're actually thinking about the other person in regards, you're never going to have to worry about finding work. You're never going to have to worry about not having enough money. You're never going to have to worry about having a place to live. You're never going to have to worry about doing any sort of you're not going to have to worry about what your future has in store for you when you're actually genuinely interested in that other person. As soon as you start to become interested in the other person and you show hey, I'm not doing this for my own gain. I'm not doing this for selfish reasons, because a lot of people do have that. They start talking with other people out of selfish reasons, out of what's in this for me? What can I get out of this person? Because this person has millions and millions of dollars in his bank account and has several successful businesses. What can I do? What can I take from him and not give him any value in return? This is something that I do not recommend doing. What you should do if you're looking to start a conversation with somebody that has millions of dollars in the bank is figure out what you can offer them. It can be very small. It can be just talking about them or asking them questions about what they're doing, figuring out how they made their money, figuring out what you can do to provide back. That could be teaching them new ways in business, teaching them new exercises, teaching them new ways of spirituality, teaching them about practicing yoga. There's so many opportunities that you can do as soon as you start to be interested in that other person, because when you start to be interested, you start to become interesting, because there's not a lot of people. I've started to notice this recently, and there's nothing wrong with this. Just it's how my mind works, and it's how I enjoy interacting with this world. Is I always give, and I enjoy listening. I do. I genuinely enjoy listening and asking questions and learning from other people that are older than myself, younger than myself, same age as myself, because I'm learning new ways of thinking and new ways of creating ideas. So I'm asking questions of these other people. And at this time right now exactly is what I'm saying, is people aren't asking me questions. And I'm good with that, because I'm at least learning through the process of, oh, hey, this is what I need to do to be able to understand fully how I can provide back to other people and what questions I can ask, because I have very big goals in life. And these goals I know I'm going to accomplish one way or another. I'm going to get there, and I'm going to achieve all my goals in this world, hands down. It's a simple fact of life, which if that's a simple fact of life, then I have to be able to do aspects. If it's the same thing for you guys, I have to be able to do aspects and or learn new skills that I might have been afraid to learn when I was younger. But that's the crazy thing about life, is we never know what we're going to be learning in our older ages. We're always going to be doing something that we enjoy doing. At least I sure hope you do. And that's why when I'm talking with all these other people, is something that I always ask them, because it's something that I've asked myself. And the better you get asking other people questions, the better you get at asking yourself questions. It's really a domino effect. It's just one of these questions that I always ask people is, what is the one thing that you would want to do for the rest of your life? The one thing. You don't have to worry about money. You don't have to worry about funding. You don't have to worry about time. What is the one thing that you would want to do for the rest of your life? And this gets them thinking, because I don't think there's a lot of people that I know currently. There probably is. It's just that I know personally that are asking tough questions, that are asking questions of other people of why they're doing what they're doing, and trying to figure out what led them to be doing what they're doing, because I feel like that's just extremely important. It's just well, why'd you want to go into engineering? Why'd you want to go into art? Why'd you want to go into video editing? Why'd you want to be an entrepreneur? Why'd you want to be a professional daredevil? Why'd you want to be a technician? Why'd you want to be a electrician? Why'd you want to be a plumber? Why'd you want to own businesses? Why do you want to travel? Why do you want to have control over your time? Why do you want to have successful businesses? Why do you lift weights? Why do you create what you do? Why do you work so hard? What are you doing in this process? How many times of the day are you actually working when you should not be working? Or how many times of the day are you working when you know you should be working? Or how many times of the day are you slacking off when you know you should be working? There's all these questions that you could be asking that I don't think a lot of people ask. I think a lot of people get stuck with, oh, if somebody's not going to be interested in me, then I'm not going to be interested in them. It's just you have to be interested in them first before they can be interested in you. And if they aren't being interested in you, then still be interested in them, because you may at least learn something, because there's so many cool things that you can learn from other people, because everybody has a different story. And that's the cool thing. That's the part that really fascinates me about talking with all these other people, is I'm learning something new that I had never known beforehand by asking these questions, listening, thinking, and just like clearly opening my mind up to new ideas. And I have to be cautious sometimes of these ideas that I'm letting in, yet I'm still at least letting in ideas that I can either use or I can not use, but I'm at least learning new ways of looking at the world and communicating. Because I've said in another videos, I don't think anybody really knows what they're doing. And yet, through talking with other people and seeing what other people have done in their older ages, I'm able to learn, like, hey, this is what I should not do. This is what I should do. This is where I can make money. This is where I can't make money. And these are ways that they've screwed up relationships or marriages or anything of that such. And if I'm able to stay strong in my values and be like, yeah, I'm just going to go do what I do, and I'm going to be my open and authentic self and be interested in other people, then I'm going to start to convey a manner in which people are coming up to me. People are wanting to talk. People are wanting to ask me questions. It's just that takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people realize is, you have to start somewhere. Because, if you want to start getting better at conversations, you want to have conversations that you actually enjoy and you're able to go in depth and you're able to learn something new about this other person, then you're going to want to be interested in them first. When you're interested in them first, then all of a sudden you can start to exfoliate your ideas a little bit more openly and honestly. It's just you have to start somewhere, and it's going to take weeks or months or years maybe for somebody to be interested in you. Yet if you think that person who's genuinely interested and might be able to you don't even have to have an intention. It's just if you want to talk with that person and interact with that person and learn their stories and learn their life and learn what they're doing, then if you're going to be doing that, there's a lot of opportunity that you can actually come to you from talking to people. One example that I can give you is I was talking to one of my friends at the gym today about how I'm in the process of creating this product for my fitness and how I'm going to how I am going to inspire people to be more active, more fit, more healthy, and just more motivated with their health pretty much. So what he was telling me, because I was telling him kind of what I was doing and how I was creating a meal plan and how I wanted to have workouts, and he was like, yeah, dude, I'm in the process of creating an Excel sheet. I'm in the process of creating an Excel sheet where you get to choose how many days you want to work out, and then it's just going to pretty much populate this Excel sheet with the workouts that you get to do throughout the week. So you want to work out 3 days a week, then it will populate the exercises that you have to do for those 3 days of the week, and then you add in a YouTube URL, and you can watch the videos getting done of that exercise and how to do the exercise correctly. And I was just like, that is genius. Yeah, if I would have never actually gone and talked to that person, then there's no way that I would have actually been able to learn this new way of actually creating and providing value. So I was like, dude, I'm more than happy, you create this product for yourself. I'm more than happy to compensate you if I'm able to use it for my program. I'll give you a percentage of the fees and every single time somebody uses it, because I think that's something that could be extremely valuable to other people. That could be something that can help people actually do workouts, because then they don't have to think of, oh, hey, this is the workout that I have to do this week. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Oh, I forgot how to do this workout because I don't bring my phone into the gym because I don't want to be on my phone all the time at the gym. So, yeah, it's a genius idea. And if I wouldn't have actually stepped out of my shell and actually talked to people and told them the ideas and my ambitions and my goals, then I wouldn't have actually been able to learn that from him. So be open and honest when you're talking with somebody. It's super simple. It's really easy because there's a lot of people that aren't. And there's someone kind of with being interested in wanting to learn from these other people is there's a quote also in Dale Carnegie's book is the life of many a person could be changed if only someone would make him feel important. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do is I want to show people that everybody's important because you are important. There is so much more that you can do in this world as soon as you start listening to other people, as soon as you start to interact in a manner of such that allows for you to provide back more value and more thinking, positivity, optimism, disarmament, possibly. I just learned that word today. And it's a feeling unlike anything else because a good person always will. Because when you keep your mouth shut, it pays. And there's something that I learned from the Jocko podcast was where he's like, I only speak if I have something of value to add. If I don't have anything of value to add, I'm not going to speak. Which, yes, sometimes that might sound absolutely crazy. Like, it's like, well, why? I want something to say. I have something to say. Well, it's like, yeah, you have something to say. Is it going to add value, though? Maybe, maybe not. If it doesn't, then, like, let the other person talk. Let him fill this space. Because a lot of people, I'm starting to realize, want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about what they're interested in. They want to talk about what they're doing and how they're living their life and what's working for them. And I want to hear about that. I want to learn about that. I want to understand more about that. And the best way for me to do that is by actually listening to their stories and asking them questions. Because people are really only interested in themselves. And that kind of ties into something that I'm going to be doing either later this week or later this month, is how to kind of get over those insecurities of other people, because you're thinking that they're thinking of you when in reality they're not thinking of you. That'll be for another episode. Anyways, kind of the whole realm of talking to somebody else is, like, you start small. Like, start very small. Find something that, like, maybe there's a shirt they're wearing that looks interesting. Start by just walking up and just being like, oh, hey, like, you don't even have to do a conversation. Just go say hi to 5 people, 5 random people. Just go say hi. See what's up. See what happens. See what they say. Be like, yeah, oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, you might get rejected quite a bit because some people might be like, oh, this dude's crazy. So if you don't want to do that, then I just say go to the gym. You see somebody out with their headphones in, maybe taking a break or something like that. Go and be like, oh, yeah, hey, what exercise are you doing? I see, like, I've never seen somebody doing that exercise before. Can you explain how you got to that point? Or it's like, I see that you have really big arms, or like your chest, like you're bench pressing 415 pounds. How'd you get to that point? What are you doing? How can I get to that level where you're at? If you get there, then there's a lot that's going to change because you're actually being interested in that other person. The key is to be interested in the other person. If you're never interested in the other person, then nothing's ever going to change. One way that I can recommend to start being interested is start to write down questions, start to journal. Like, for the longest time, probably 4 or maybe 5 months, I was writing questions down the night before, and then I'd journal about them in the morning, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, so that's the answer to that question, that's the answer to that question. And then I was also listening to a lot of the Tim Ferriss podcast, or the Tim Ferriss show. The Tim Ferriss show. He asks and he talks a lot about creating, his whole mission, I would say, is to have podcasts with questions that not a lot of people are asking. He asks the really tough questions. And that he kind of taught me how to ask better questions, which would in turn allow for me to build those relationships and ask other questions of other people. I also had a friend in college, though, that he's like, dude, Caleb, you ask too many questions. Like, you can't just always be asking questions. So I was like, oh, okay. So I kind of took that to heart, too. And that's when I started listening to Joe Rogan, and I saw how he was talking and how he was communicating. And I started to mirror what he was doing. I started to be like, okay, so why or how is he able to have these conversations for 3 or 4 hours? What is he doing that is giving him the power to communicate so well? And it was more, he was giving himself, like he was relating the stories back to himself by building the rapport. He'd still ask the questions, just like, oh, so how'd you get out of the cave? Or what do you think of this specific situation or this fight that happened? Have you tried hot yoga? Have you tried DMT? Like, there's questions that he asks that get people thinking, but yet they're still also communicating because he's also just having a conversation. It's not just an interview. And that's something that I struggled with when I was first starting to communicate with other people, is I was having a more of an interview style. I was like, they'd finish talking, they'd finish telling me their point, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, so what do you do when you dry your hair? I don't know, it's absolutely random. Or what do you do when you are eating food? It's like, or how much food are you eating? Okay, cool. What car do you drive? Like, I wasn't actually tying it into any other part of the conversation. If you're going to ask another question, summarize kind of what that person thought or communicated in the first place. Be like, oh, hey, it sounded like you were talking about this. Is there any way that I could somehow improve upon that topic to be able to provide back more value to you and at least summarize what I think I understood? Because then when you summarize what the other person said, they'll continue talking about what they were talking about in the first place. And if they continue talking about what they're talking about, then you can actually achieve a lot more. Because if you're not actually wanting to learn what the other person is talking about or how they're communicating or what they have to say or what they're doing in this world or just kind of their whole bravado of everything, I don't think you'll make it that far. And I know my camera ran out, so give me 1 second. Oh, hey, my camera's still running, but I'm at 30 minutes. How does that work? Sorry about that. I still feel like I have more to say on this topic, so it's going to be a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer, but I just had to reset the camera, so that's kind of what that whole little transition was about. Anyways, as I was saying, like, you want to be interested in that other person. You want to gain the interest. You want to gain that through rapport by finding that common interest. So let's say somebody is doing yoga. And usually people, when I'm practicing yoga, I'm like, okay, they're probably also into the whole mindfulness and meditation and going deep within and focusing on the breath and being one with the mind and the spirit and actually having this unity of connection of the mind, body, and soul. If there is a soul, otherwise, I mean, it's really all just consciousness. Anyways, though, that's something for another day as well. If you're able to communicate openly, honestly, authentically with these other people, and if you find that common ground with, say, meditation, then it's like, okay, well, how are you meditating? What meditation are you doing? They're like, oh, I'm doing vinyasa or Vipassana meditation, which that's what Sam Harris teaches on his Waking Up with Sam Harris app. Highly recommend it because that's kind of helped me communicate a little bit better with other people because I see it's like, well, we're all just consciousness. Like when I'm looking at other people, I'm also technically seeing myself in that other person. So I don't want to be talking poorly. I don't want to make that other person feel bad. So I always make them feel good. You start to make other people feel good. You'll start to feel good. When they're feeling good, they're going to want to continue to come over to you. So I hope this was informational and productive for you and hopefully provided some value. I'm trying to just do as much as I possibly can. Otherwise, let me finish this up with a quote really quick by Earl Nightingale. The quote is, "Never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass away." Think about it. The only time like your dream is actually going to happen of you being able to communicate better with other people is by actually going and doing it. The time's going to pass one way or another. So you might as well start now and start building towards that goal of yours than just sitting on the sideline.